Sam,
Hey,
it's
Kayla,
just you and me.
so far,
Okay, I'm gonna go get my coffee. How are you doing?
I
What's going on?
was thinking about playing this video. I was just trying it when you just joined.
What was the video?
Why don't you get your coffee and then I'll see what you think of it.
Okay.
I just got my coffee a few minutes ago myself.
Hey, I went hiking for the first time in like a year, maybe. Well, no, I shouldn't say a year. Oh God, it might have been a year actually. No, it's not a year. That was
With
process.
with your kids, with your dogs, with friends, just by yourself.
Just one dog.
Uh,
That was beautiful. I saw a what is it? What do you call male deer? Is that a stag? No.
I think
Um,
so.
well, it's a young male deer with antlers. The antlers were like partially grown. Oh, it was
A puppy.
beautiful.
It's a puppy.
Really?
I don't know these technical terms.
What? You're supposed to be super smart.
Well, I've been able to pretend for this far, this long, managed to fool you this long, but you finally got me.
Now it was beautiful. It was, kind of leaping across the mountain in front of me. It was very close.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Rocky didn't smell it, but he was going so fast. And then Rocky smelled something. I only brought one dog, but Rocky smelled something in the distance. And yeah, I always pay attention to what the dogs pay attention to because they
Yep.
could see and hear and smell things that we can't. So
Yep.
I looked up in the mountains and there was a mama deer and two of her little babies. It was so freaking cute. And they stopped to
Yeah.
stare at us. And I didn't even see the third one or the second baby until I kind of looked closer with my own eyes. And the second baby was like well hidden, like among the brush.
How
But
far was this from your neighborhood?
not far at all. I wouldn't say it's like within walking distance of my neighborhood, but it's probably about 5 minutes away.
Hmm.
So
When you were here, did we ever do any walks around the neighborhood or go to the neighborhood park?
no, the first time was you met us in Seattle, and the second time it was way too cold.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because,
plus, that was when I busted my knee.
that's such a freak accident still. I think it happened here, right?
It did. It happened in the house because I wanted to.
Did I do anything to you? Was I beating you or what?
No, I was dancing. I wanted to do this TikTok dance that Max
I
did.
know. I was supposed to play violin, and you and I are supposed to do a violin dance thing. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I thought your injury was going to be like recovered in like a day or two, but it didn't.
No. Yeah. Normally my injuries do recover pretty quickly, but this one took a couple of years.
Are
So
you okay now?
yeah, I mean, I still have a hard time like going down to a squat. And I think it has to do with my weight now, you know,
Um,
and my muscles, but
hey, you
or
know what?
lack thereof.
You and I should challenge each other. Every morning we tell each other how many squats we actually did. How about that?
Maybe,
Because I did
yeah.
10 this morning already,
Yeah.
but only 10. I should do more.
Uh,
And then, if we're really consistent, we can race to see who can do a single leg squat first.
oh my God.
And then we have to capture that on video, just to be able to send to the other.
I know I'm trying to psych myself up because I would love to bring both dogs hiking, but right now they're just too excitable. So I think I need to expose them more. And um, in order to do that, it would be best to do it
One by one.
Yeah, but they both need walks.
Hmm.
The two huskies. Indy doesn't need a walk. His walks are obviously it's good to get him a little bit of exercise, but it's more for stimulation than anything, and he's used to chilling.
Hmm.
But the two huskies, um, they both definitely need walks. And so I thought to myself, if I can just get myself to like build up my stamina um, for my hikes, then that would be perfect.
Hmm.
The only thing is, I do not like too many people. So again, I woke up at like 5:30 this morning,
Yeah.
and then I hit the trails by 6. By 7 o'clock, there were a lot of people and a lot of dogs.
Hmm.
And Rocky was going crazy looking at the dogs. But
So 5:30, how far do you go every day?
um, I usually just go for an hour. I don't really measure the distance.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I've been up until this past week, I've been doing this 2 mile path. It's just, 1 mile up, 1 mile down.
Uh-huh.
And that's been taking about 44, 45 minutes. But then this past week, I've upped it to 3 miles now. So that
Ooh,
takes a little
nice.
over an hour. So that takes about, I don't know, 65 to 70 minutes, probably 75 minutes. I'm not really
Yeah.
measuring it.
Yeah.
And going from two to three, after establishing two, not that hard. 'Cause I don't have a lot of elevation change here. So it's actually just a pretty smooth, you know, 1.5 mile this way, 1.5 mile that way.
Yeah.
And the dogs
Yeah.
have, I mean, in the first 5 minutes or so, they poop and pee and, whatever. But then
Yeah.
most of the time, they're completely fine.
Nice. And I'm assuming you take them off leash because that's just the kind of dogs they are. You can take them off
Well,
leash.
I would if there were no traffic, but there's still unpredictable traffic. Like usually when I'm out there in the evening from, either 6 to 9, somewhere in that time period, we get anywhere from 2 to 4, 2 to 5 cars going by. And I still have them on leash so that, no trouble can happen. It would be nice. I
Yeah.
mean, surprisingly in California, it was easier to take Zeus for walks without a leash than it is up here. They're much more strict up here about dogs being on leashes, strangely.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, there's a lot of damage a dog could do that's off
yeah.
leash.
And there are
And
some other dogs, really Goldens, I'm just so biased, but other dogs
yes.
get crazy way more than Goldens do.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
they start something, of course, the Goldens are going to get into it, but the Goldens don't start anything.
I've seen golden start stuff before, though.
Yeah,
They aren't, I've seen it on video.
okay.
They aren't innocent. Nobody's innocent.
Yeah, but
But
you're forgetting I'm very biased, okay?
hey, I'm very realistic about my dogs, but they are not pits. That's all I could say. Like I'm
Yes.
kind of biased against pits,
Yeah.
even though my brother has one. They're just that's their temperament, you
Yeah.
know, and Rottweilers too. There's good
Mhm.
Rottweilers. Don't get me wrong. We all know that.
Yes.
But for the most part, if they're unchecked, oh
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. I met a
they could
super
do.
chill Rottweiler just a few months ago. Baby.
Yeah.
Cute dog. Anyway, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I just keep interrupting you.
No, it's okay. I do that. I interrupt. So you were gonna say something? I have my coffee. I'm sitting in my front porch now.
Well, I was gonna show. Do you have can you see the screen or are you not able to see the screen?
Hold on.
Because I was thinking about just getting a video on the record.
Let me
It's
see.
something that I really like.
I can see the screen now.
Okay, I'm gonna start sharing the screen and let me see if the audio comes through or whether I need to tweak my audio settings. In fact, let me tweak my audio settings now. I'm going to say audio profile, original sound. Yeah, good. Let me do that. Original sound, high fidelity, music mode. Okay, let's see how this sounds. Okay, all right. I'm going to share and see what you think of this. It's about 4 minutes long. Hopefully that's tolerable.
Sure.
Share screen and share screen. Share screen. Pick this screen, and now I'm going to say play. Can you see my screen?
Um, Hold on. It just said pinch out for a bigger view.
Okay.
I don't know, but go ahead and hit play.
Okay.
Maybe
So
I'll see
now
it.
the most important thing is see if you can make sense of the words. Okay. This is Richard Dawkins. Oh, wait. Let me start from the beginning. Let me start from the beginning.
By the way, on my end, it's still black, so I don't know if you've started or not.
Wait, it's still black?
Yeah, on my
There's
end,
no video?
no. And it could be because I'm on my phone. I don't know.
Interesting, because it does say I am screen sharing. And could you hear the audio though? Could you make sense of what he was saying?
No, I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
No,
Oh man.
sorry.
No, that's a good test. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to share the video some other way.
Yeah, maybe send in the group chat.
I'll do that. Let me share that just so it's on the record that I've shared this thing. And let me
Oh,
stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna try later on when somebody with a PC gets on and let me see if that works with them. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put this in the chat and it's this link there. Okay, now it's part of the record. And if I have a chance later, I will play it for the record. I'm gonna see if I can find the transcript and see if I can read it.
Chuck Norris, Growing Up in the Universe.
It's what?
No, I'm looking at it.
Oh, does it start with Imagine a Spaceship?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, sorry, not Chuck Norris, Richard Dawkins.
Yeah.
There's a stupid ass sponsor thing.
I'm having trouble finding. Oh, here's the transcript. I can find the transcript. Here we go. Uh, it's 4 minutes, but can I read it to you? Because I
Of
really
course.
like it. I really like it.
Yeah.
Okay, it says, imagine a spaceship full of sleeping explorers, deep frozen, would-be colonists of distant worlds. Perhaps they would be the last population of Earth, despairing that Earth is about to be destroyed. Wait a minute, this is the wrong one. I wanted to get the other one. Richard has a lot of good ones, but yeah, it has to start with "We are going to die." That's the right one. So, believe it or not, it's not morose. It's not morbid. But let me see if I can find the right transcript. Sorry about this. Okay, I got it. I got it now. Sorry. I'm sorry for wasting your time.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, sort of. It automatically went to the next video when I clicked something and I did something stupid.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
no.
may I start again?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Okay, so this is Richard Dawkins. Okay. We are going to die, and that makes us the lucky ones. Most people are never going to die because they're never going to be born. The potential people who could have been here in my place, but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand grains of the Sahara. Certainly, those unborn ghosts include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. We know this because of the set of possible people allowed by our DNA that so massively outnumbers the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I, in our ordinariness, that are here. We live on a planet that is all but perfect for our kind of life. Not too warm, not too cold, basking in kindly sunshine, softly watered, a gently spinning green and gold harvest festival of a planet. Yes, and alas, there are deserts and slums. There's starvation and racking misery to be found. But take a look at the competition. Compared with most planets, that is paradise. And parts of Earth are still paradise by any standards. What are the odds that a planet picked at random will have these complacent, uses a word I don't know, complacent properties, probably pleasant properties? Even the most optimistic calculation will put it at less than 1 in a million. Imagine a spaceship full of sleeping explorers, deep frozen would-be colonists of some distant world. Perhaps the ship is on a forlorn mission to save the species before an unstoppable comet, like the one that killed the dinosaurs. It's the home planet. The Voyagers go into the deep freeze soberly reckoning the odds against their spaceships ever chancing upon a planet friendly to life. If 1 in a million planets is suitable at best and it takes centuries to travel from each star to the next, the spaceship is pathetically unlikely to find a tolerable, let alone safe haven for its sleeping cargo. But imagine that the ship's robot pilot turns out to be unthinkably lucky. After millions of years, the ship does find a planet capable of sustaining life. A planet of equable temperature, bathed in warm starshine, refreshed by oxygen and water. The passengers, Rip Van Winkles, wake, stumbling into the light. After a million years of sleep, here's a whole new fertile globe. A lush planet of warm pastures, sparkling streams, and waterfalls. A world bountiful with creatures darting through the green felicity, alien green felicity. Our travelers walk, entranced, stupefied, unable to believe their unaccustomed senses or their luck. The story asks for too much luck. It would never happen. And yet, isn't it what has just happened to each of us? We have woken after hundreds of millions of years asleep, defying astronomical odds. Admittedly, we didn't arrive by spaceship. We arrived by being born. And we didn't burst conscious into the world, but accumulated awareness gradually through babyhood. The fact that we gradually apprehend our world rather than suddenly discovering it should not subtract from its wonder. It is no accident that our kind of life finds itself on a planet whose temperatures, rainfall, and everything else are exactly right. If the planet were suitable for another kind of life, it is that other kind of life that would have evolved here. But we, as individuals, are still hugely blessed, privileged, and not just privileged to enjoy our planet. More, we're granted the opportunity to understand why our eyes are open and why they see that they do in a short time before they close forever. Sorry, I get a little choked up by that. So Richard does a better job reading it and saying it, but that was the transcript from the video I wanted to share.
Oh, that was beautiful.
I think of that. Well, it's a video that came to mind the last couple of days.
Have you been feeling it too?
hmm I don't know if you heard yesterday after you left, but I think Stacy and I were on for at least another 15, 20 minutes or so. And I get the sense sometimes, and I told Stacy this yesterday, that sometimes she thinks that I'm just all brainiac and I don't have any feelings. But I told her that when I play music, when I get the violin out, or I play chamber music, or I play, any of the classics, I never have found a better way to express how I feel and how the world feels. even though in words, I don't often express that. So
Hmm.
that's another reason I really like having gotten back into playing music, even though I'm very rusty. But I'm lucky my friend Linda earlier this week asked me to do that gig on Thursday. And so we're going to do another one in August. And so now I have reason to pick up the violin and practice again and really get those feels back.
Yeah.
I think you're lucky. That probably comes out even more in dance.
Uh, it comes out in a couple of ways. I am very lucky. Like today, um, I didn't put my AirPods on until I was walking back, on the trail.
Hmm.
And I love listening to like the crunch of the gravel underneath my feet.
Yeah.
I like pausing and just looking out into the mountains, and you know the California desert isn't really my thing, but I still appreciate how beautiful nature is. And then there was one time point where we'd gone on a trail. All of the trails in this canyon I'm very familiar with, although they did just open two new trails, which got me really excited. But we had stopped underneath this big tree on the trail, and since it was still early in the morning and the fog that rolled in brought moisture to the air, you could just hear like the drops of the moisture go down onto the leaves on the ground. And they made the most beautiful sound. And I just thought to myself, I could sit here all day and just listen to that and only that. And my mind was absolutely clear. So I don't know if that would constitute as a feeling that we all know, you know? Um, the closest feeling would be a sense of peace, whatever peace is to people. But that's what I feel. Um, and yes, the feelings more so. If you talk about very human feelings, if you talk about like connecting to other humans, and then also connecting to nature, yes, dance does bring that out. But there's something that nature brings out that I can't explain. It's just almost this oneness, as corny as that sounds, as woo woo as that sounds. I don't have to entertain myself or like proclaim any type of feelings or, do anything. You could just exist, and that's enough, more than enough.
Yeah, I think I get, and maybe this is entirely wrong. When people talk about feelings, if it's not this piece that you're describing, it doesn't seem quite so stable. Hey, Stacy.
Hey,
Hello, sorry.
Stacey.
I overslept. I just woke up this second. Oh my
Good morning,
goodness.
Stacy.
Good morning. Good morning.
I think you might really like what we were just talking about.
Probably. Let me see if the AI will tell me. Hold on a second. Oh my
That's
God, I
good.
can't believe it. Um, AI, catch me up. Let's see. It's analyzing.
I took a long nap yesterday when I came home from a party. It was such a good nap. It was one of those naps where it was really hard to get up. But I'm like, I have to get up, otherwise I'm gonna be up all night long. And I knew I wanted to hike this morning.
Well, it's telling me about the outdoor activities, the hiking, the deer, the dogs, challenging each other to do squats. None of that is thrilling me.
It doesn't say anything about more than that.
Hold on, I have to scroll.
See, this is a part of AI that I think misses the whole point.
Yeah,
Doc, technical video. He was philosophical. No, nothing else. She feel just
nothing
they were
else.
discussing different types of feelings about how they manifest in various situations. No, why don't you catch me up?
Wow, it missed an entire 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah. So, may I, Sam?
Please.
I'll try to. This is me exercising my
Mhm.
Yes,
my speaking skills.
good.
Um, so Sam had brought up this beautiful video, but he was reading the transcript, and it was to me the video was about like discovery, um, planetary discovery, but more so it hit me more so like instead of um, taking, simply discovering um, should really be the focus of humanity. That's what I got from it. It is completely like my interpretation. I would encourage Sam to read the transcript again because it's absolutely beautiful. And then we started talking about feelings. And Sam had mentioned a conversation you guys had after I had left yesterday. And he was talking about how when he's on the violin, that's when feelings come out for him.
Got it.
And he had mentioned, like with dance, it may be more so that feelings come out for me with dance. And I said, yeah, it's true. But during today's hike, there was a feeling, so to speak, that came across, my mind um, when I was just hiking. And if you don't mind, Sam, I'm gonna just explain it to Stacy again, if that's okay.
Please.
Okay. It's just so much better if I just tell you. So when I hike, I do it often early in the morning, and I do that on purpose because I don't like to see a lot of people, you know, on the trails with me. Um, and believe it or not, I don't have music on or anything to distract me. I can hike and listen to nature, and that is enough, more than enough for me. And so I'm the kind of person that just loves hearing the sound of gravel underneath my feet. I can stop and I can look at a landscape and really enjoy everything about it, the colors, the mist, the beauty. I'm not really a California desert kind of person. There's a lot of shrubs here, not too many trees, but there are trees here. But I still appreciate the beauty of that. And so Rocky and I only took one dog with me. We're underneath this beautiful big tree, and the fog had brought moisture into the air. And the moisture just like had these drops from the tree onto the ground. And the sound was just so beautiful, and I could not describe how I was feeling. It was really kind of emptiness and peace at the same time, if you were kind of to describe a feeling. But it was almost like a oneness, like I could just stay there forever. Like there was no purpose, there was no time, there was no space. There was just, there was really no feeling, if you even want to say that. It was just almost kind of a connection. And it's those moments that I really feel like, to me, that's like my big feeling. If you want to talk about human connection, telling a story, if you want to talk about connecting to the earth and portraying it, yeah, that's dance. That's how I feel through dance. But nature is just an inexplicable feeling that I that I personally have when I'm out there. So that's what we were talking about.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Thank you. That's really beautiful.
Sam, did you get your interpretation of our conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it touches on so many things because, like you know, when I'm walking, and by the way, Stacy, I go now for 2 or 3 mile hikes, not hikes, walks in the neighborhood, you know, with the dogs almost every day, except when it rained last week. So what's fun is I listen to the dogs. They each have a different pitter patter on the road. Helios bounces up and down. He's a
Mm.
big dog. He's like 85 pounds, but he bounces. Like his muscles have so much spring to them. And then Hera, who's the old lady, she's like, 8.5 now. She's got this sway. She's got the badonk sway that goes side to side. It's really funny.
Yes, I remember her.
And then Gaia, who's the biggest eater of them all. She consumes more food than either of the other two, but she's the slimmest. And she's got such an economy of motion that, she's just straight ahead, focused, that like there's no inefficiency to her movement. They're so different. And she's the one where, when I let her off the leash, she looks like a deer. She bounds up hills and through the bushes and whatever. Literally, she bounds kind of like a deer. So I appreciate the way they move, the sound that they make on the road. I listen to my feet and see if there's any irregularity because I know there's, like one toe is a little bit sensitive and feels a little bit sore still. And so I'm trying to figure out whether I'm still limping or whether I'm not limping. And I like to feel, I mean, we're on the south end of the island, so I hear the wind coming through the trees. And I can hear cars coming from at least a mile away because there's like this corridor of trees that just funnels the sound of the oncoming cars right all along the road. So I'm usually never surprised by a car coming up. Anyway, it's the green, it's the sun going through the trees, it's the sound of the wind, it's the little pitter patter of the dog's feet. It's just, me listening to my pace to see if it's regular. It's me just really enjoying how clean the air is and how quiet it is. I could hear deer going through the brush, from dozens of yards away. And that's like almost at least once or twice a week. So I like, what Kayla, what you were saying about just listening. I don't have earphones on. I don't have anything listening to music or lectures or books or anything like that. I'm just enjoying. It's meditative. That's what that walk
Hmm.
is in the evening. I'm sorry to go on and on and on and on about that, but I was just kind of resonating with what you were saying, Kayla.
I don't know about you guys, but do you guys realize that not too many people can enjoy that?
I
There's so
am
much
so
noise
lucky.
in this world.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like you're in the same boat, Stacey. You could probably enjoy something like that, but I feel like there's a lot of restlessness. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a lot of restlessness in everybody's heart. Even when we were walking back and more people started coming on the trail, there's this woman. She had this speaker, and you could hear music from it. She didn't even have AirPods on or headphones on. She just had like an outside speaker. And I was just thinking, like, wow, that's too bad. You can listen to music anytime, but it's not very often that you can listen to, nothing at the sound of nature.
Isn't that the trail equivalent of some lowrider pulling up alongside you on the road with their speakers blaring and blasting?
Hmm. Yeah.
No, you're right. I consider myself quite lucky to be able to enjoy this.
Hmm.
And dare I say privileged.
True. Very true.
Hey, Stacy, are you in front of a PC?
Personal computer. Yes.
Okay. Can I do an experiment? Because I tried to share this video with Kayla earlier, and she said that it was not coming through. So I was just wondering if I might be able to try this experiment one more time.
Sure.
Live. Thank you. Let me find it and let me share my screen. And share this one screen here. And then select that screen. Okay, now can you see my screen?
It's black.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Darn.
that's the same problem I was having.
But it is
All
your
right.
screen.
But you
Oh,
don't see anything?
No,
Like I write,
but it's definitely your screen. It even says Sam's screen at the top.
right. But it's supposed to show a YouTube video that's, on pause and it's got a couple other windows. So,
Maybe the problem
strange.
is that it's on pause.
Let me see if I can hit play. Let me see if you hear anything, okay? I'll
Okay.
I'll go for about 30 seconds or 15
Okay.
seconds and see if you can
Okay.
hear anything.
Okay. Not so far. Kayla, can you hear me?
You cannot hear it? Okay, all right.
No.
I'll have to try this on a different
I
device
can
and
hear
see.
you, Stacy, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we could hear each other, but not the screen.
Okay. I
So,
am
Sam, you're probably
disappointed
going to
in
have to
Zoom.
read it again.
Uh, I'm such a poor reader.
No, no, you did really good. Well, Sam read it for me, and yeah, it was beautiful. I think you should read it again.
So if you read it already, then just send me the video and I'll watch it myself.
I will send the link again. I was hoping we'd be able to share it together, but actually, do you ever share your screen, Stacy?
Let's say yes. So you want to send it to me and see if I could
Yeah,
share
I'm
my
I'm gonna
screen?
share. Yes, would you be willing to do that?
I can try.
Okay, let me see if I can send it again.
All I know is if
Da-da-da-da-da.
my camera accidentally goes on, I will kill you.
Hey, everybody goes sometime, Stacy.
I'm literally sitting to the side. You know what? I should just get tape over my little thing.
Yeah, you can actually put tape over your cameras
Yeah.
on your laptop. There's a bunch of tchotchkes that are like that as well. Anyway, the link is in the chat.
Chat. Okay, I gotta find my chat. My laptop was literally on my bed. So I woke up, looked at my phone, went and like opened my computer. Um, that's how quickly I got
All
on.
right, never mind. Share and if your camera goes
I
on, I'll close my eyes, okay?
learn. Okay, so wait, that's I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to the messages. All right, YouTube. Okay, hold on a
You
minute.
want to get rid of that beer belly for summer? Check this out.
Um,
Have you seen this guy?
now I
The one
lost
that keeps telling us to
screen.
stop running on the
Hold on.
treadmill. Well, you might want to listen to this.
If you want to drop this, start eating more of these.
Is that your
To lose belly fat
you,
should stop
Stacy?
starving themselves and cutting out carbs. I was on carnivore for about
I
4
think
years.
Stacy's got other media
I had no
playing.
problem with it.
Hated it.
It suited me nicely. I gained a bunch of weight, and I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know. I didn't realize that I gained a bunch of weight on
Hey,
it." Maybe you should
Stacy.
forget everything you think you know about weight loss and listen to what I'm about to share with you. You may think this will take years to learn, but we're going to teach it to you in 60 seconds. Watch this. This is a metabolism killer. This is a
Hey, Stacy,
metabolism.
can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I'm
This
trying
is
to
a
figure out
metabolism
if
killer.
it's giving me this whole thing before it's letting me
And running
share.
the treadmill endlessly, and eating salad
Oh,
just to lose a
is this
few
playing a
pounds.
bunch of
Stop and
ads?
listen to what I'm
Oh,
about to
sorry.
tell you. I want to talk to you about something that's been
That
making
was
weight
what I was wondering.
media lately. You've probably seen this
Yeah, I
guy
have
all
YouTube
over your
Premium,
feed
so
claiming that
I
cutting
don't
carbs isn't
I don't
necessary
like
Yeah,
for
those
it's
weight
not
ads.
letting me
need
do
for
this.
long hours on the treadmill either. Now, I know it sounds too good to be true, but let me tell you, there's more
Yeah,
to
this
this than
isn't
meets the
gonna.
eye.
The science of weight loss
That
was
seems to
cracked a
play a lot.
long
We can't
time ago.
skip it.
It's not a trend, it's facts.
Can you hear this?
Imagine a spaceship full of sleeping
Yes.
explorers, deep frozen would-be colonists of some
Can you
distant
start
world.
from the beginning?
It is the beginning.
Can you start again?
Perhaps
Hopefully, there.
imagine a spaceship full of sleeping explorers, deep frozen would-be colonists of some distant world.
Actually, you're not at the beginning.
I am.
It starts with, "We are going to die."
Well, this doesn't say it. This is called Growing Up in the Universe, Richard Dawkins. And here it is. It's at 0. You ready?
Okay.
Imagine a spaceship full of sleeping explorers, deep frozen would-be colonists.
Yeah, you can stop it. You don't get the full effect if you don't start from the
You
beginning. And
sure that We Are
unfortunately,
Going to Die doesn't come after?
no.
Perhaps
We're
they're the
going to
last
die. The very first thing it says.
despairing that
No.
Earth is about to be destroyed, sending out
Because
a
it says
colony
perhaps
to look for
we're
a
going to be
planet anywhere
destroyed.
in order to carry on humanity.
Yeah, but he does say it. I'm sorry. This is not as powerful as it could be.
Imagine that the spaceship turns out to be almost unthinkably lucky. It does chance to arrive at one of the
Yeah,
very,
that's
very
like a minute or
planets
two into it.
capable of sustaining our kind
let
of
me
life.
figure out how to get
Like
out
the
of it
right
now.
temperature with oxygen and so on.
You should be able to slide the progress bar all the way to the
The
left.
passengers wake up and stumble out into the light.
Yeah, that's way deep into it.
Well, that's all that got shared then. Because it was at
On
the
YouTube, you don't have a slider at the bottom that you can just slide all the way to the left to make it
I
start.
did. I did. It started at 0. I'm telling you, I did. That's what you said. Look at the link that you sent me.
Okay, I'm gonna click on that link again.
I started it at 0 and I slid it back 3
You're
times.
right. The transcript
I
has
know.
the transcript has from "We Are Going to Die," but the actual video doesn't. Oh, it's so poor. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry. It's losing its impact, but it's so meaningful to me that I'm sad this is happening.
You're sad that the video doesn't scare us enough in the beginning?
Yeah.
That
It's not
that is
scariness.
part
It's not scariness that I'm
that
going
is
after.
part of your patriarchal training.
You think so?
Yes, I do. I really do. I
Okay.
genuinely do.
I think you're okay. I'm gonna shut up for a while.
Actually,
I,
I really do think that you should read it, Sam.
if Stacy's okay with it, I'll read it.
I'm fine with
It, it's beautiful, Stacy.
Okay. Thank you. I'll bring up the transcript and I will read this. And I'll start from where it really starts. And I'm sorry about the video. Okay. Let me get there. Sorry, it's taking so long.
While he's doing that, Kayla, do you always work regular hours?
Yeah, but I do have I do work remotely. Why?
Because I'm going to be doing well, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. So actually, when I tell you, then I'll tell, when I know, then I'll tell you. I'm just curious for scheduling reasons. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw a time out there if you want, and I'll see if I can make it. And I usually can if it's during, my quote unquote work hours. That's the beauty of working remotely.
Got it. Got it. Good to know.
Okay.
Oh, you now also, you had sent a note about a clock. Is that something that you want to say publicly
Yeah,
to
yeah,
remind me of
yeah.
that? Okay, then
You know,
I'm reminding you that you have a story to tell about a clock.
well, yesterday we were talking about energy and like we were talking about like heaviness.
Well, wait. Sam might want to read his transcript first. I didn't want to cut him off.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, Stacy, this obviously came about because of the circumstances of this week. It'll come out. Okay, here it begins. This is Richard Dawkins. We are going to die, and that makes us the lucky ones. Most people are never going to die because they are never going to be born. The potential people who could have been here in my place, but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand grains of the Sahara. Certainly, those unborn ghosts include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. We know this because in the set of possible people allowed by our DNA, so massively outnumbers the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it's you and I, in our ordinariness, we're here. We live on a planet that is all but perfect for our kind of life. Not too warm, not too cold, basking in kindly sunshine, softly watered, a gently spinning green and gold harvest festival of a planet. Yes, and alas, there are deserts and slums. There's starvation and racking misery to be found. But take a look at the competition. Compared with most planets, this is paradise. And parts of Earth are still paradise by any standards. What are the odds that a planet picked at random will have these complacent properties? Even the most optimistic calculation will put it at less than 1 in a million. Imagine a spaceship full of sleeping explorers, deep frozen would-be colonists of some distant world. Perhaps the ship is on a forlorn mission to save the species before an unstoppable comet like the one that killed the dinosaurs hits the home planet. The Voyagers go into deep freeze, soberly reckoning the odds against their spaceships ever chancing upon a planet friendly to life. If 1 in a million planets is suitable at best and it takes centuries to travel from each star to the next, the spaceship is pathetically unlikely to find a tolerable, let alone safe haven for its sleeping cargo. But imagine that the ship's robot pilot turns out to be unthinkably lucky, and after millions of years, the ship does find a planet capable of sustaining life. A planet of equable temperature, bathed in warm starshine, refreshed by oxygen and water. The passengers, Rip Van Winkles, wake, stumbling into the light. After 1 million years of sleep, here's a whole new fertile globe, a lush planet of warm pastures, sparkling streams and waterfalls, a world bountiful with creatures darting through alien green felicity. Our travelers walk entranced, stupefied, unable to believe their unaccustomed senses or their luck. The story asks for too much luck. It would never happen. And yet, isn't it what has happened to each one of us? We have woken after hundreds of millions of years asleep, defying astronomical odds. Admittedly, we didn't arrive by spaceship. We arrived by being born. And we didn't burst conscious into the world, but accumulated awareness gradually through babyhood. The fact that we gradually apprehend our world rather than suddenly discovering it should not subtract from its wonder. It is no accident that our kind of life finds itself on a planet whose temperatures, rainfall, and everything else are exactly right. If the planet were suitable for another kind of life, it is that other kind of life that would have evolved here. But we, as individuals, are still hugely blessed, privileged, and not just privileged to enjoy our planet. More, we're granted the opportunity to understand why our eyes are open and why they see what they do in the short time before they close forever.
Beautiful.
Thank you for letting me read that.
Sure.
So I hope you do watch the video. It's more impactful, I think, when Richard Dawkins says it. But I couldn't get the video to work on my machine, so that's why I read it. Thanks, Kayla, for suggesting that again.
And actually, I will watch it. For me, the music does a lot,
Mhm.
and the pictures. The pictures are really important for me too.
And this is a feeling statement, Stacy. I feel that I was attacked when I was saying we are going to die, and you called me patriarchal.
I didn't call you patriarchal. What I said is that I believed, and this is a statement of belief in my opinion, that your feeling was attached to a conditioning that was a part of a patriarchal society.
I don't see how our conversation up to that point brought that out.
I think that the patriarchy in general uses fear to direct behavior. And that was connected to the question I asked yesterday, which was, what is devotion without fear? It's all connected. The whole reason for
Interesting that
creating, go ahead.
interesting that that statement, we are going to die, means that I'm trying to instill fear in your interpretation.
Not you.
But I was the one who said that, and you immediately came back with, well, that's the patriarchy.
Well, it's the language. All right. This you might have feelings for. This is directed towards you. You tend to take things very personally when they're not always personal. That being said, the language of we are going to die is meant to instill fear in people so that they will pay more attention. That's what advertisers do. They try to scare you so that you will be motivated to buy things. People use fear to get other people to do things. Religion uses fear to get people to conform. That's just the reality of it. That's what this patriarchal society that we live in does. I don't think I just think that's my opinion.
May I say that that is a very interesting opinion too. Um, I can see where you're coming from. I could totally see it. But when I heard that first statement, we are going to die, that didn't feel like fear to me. It was more like, from my opinion or my point of view, it was more like just kind of a statement.
Yeah, in the video, it was a statement. My
Yeah.
the what I'm saying is the fact that Sam didn't want the video to play without that because he kept saying rewind it, rewind it, rewind it. It wasn't good without it. And I made the joke that he felt that he just said bothered him. It triggered him. He felt attacked, he said.
I see.
I never said I felt attacked.
What did you just say? I
I
forgot what
said
word you used.
you called it patriarchal.
Right, but what did you say to me? You said, "May I say that I personally felt blank when you said I."
Yes, yes, yeah, you're right. I did say that. Yes.
Okay.
But it's more in the sense that the impact of that whole passage would not have had the same meaning if you missed the opening. That was what I was trying to convey. Not that I wanted anyone to feel fear.
Sam just wanted us to pay attention. Just kidding. Can I talk about my clock?
Please.
No, it was really interesting. So you know how we were talking about things feeling really heavy this past week and unexplainable, and I was off and Stacy was off, and excuse me. Now I'm discovering Sam was a little off too, but I just felt like the energy in my own house was very off. I felt like there were more spirits in my house than anything, not necessarily bad spirits, not necessarily good spirits. There was like some type of energy occupying my space. And a couple of weeks ago, I put new batteries in this clock that is hanging um, to the left of my office. And it hasn't worked in a couple of years. I just like left it at, I don't know when it stopped, right? And so I said, I've got to change this clock. So I changed a couple of weeks ago, the batteries, and it started working again. But then I noticed that it stopped working. And so I chalked it up as like, just batteries, or maybe the clock sucks, or whatever. But I also noticed that it was kind of working, because the times would change. And anyways, all last week, it like I felt like it officially died. Like it was like stuck in one time zone. And again, not really paying too much attention to it. And so after yesterday's conversation, I left. Right before I left my house, I looked up at the clock, and guess what? It was completely working. It was fully functional. The hands were moving, and I don't know. It was really strange. I just found it to be very strange. And so I sent Stacy a private message and saying, "Hey, don't let me forget to tell you about my clock," because I did feel like there was some type of association, but I could be completely wrong.
Wow. Kayla, I just got to tell you something. I didn't think
Uh-huh.
of it, but last week, like 3 times, I have a big clock that I'm staring at right now. And 3 times it's like it sped ahead and I had to like go and fix it. It's like this big expensive clock that I bought at a furniture store. And there's kind of like a story behind the clock as well. Wow. A weird story that I'm not going to go into, but and I just was like, how is that happening? And now it's fine. And that was
Yeah,
last week, and I didn't even think of it until you just told the story. I just had to like walk up to it and just like move the like hands back a little bit. And I was like, how does that just happen? Okay.
yeah. Who knows? I wonder if there's like an interesting, electromagnetic energy that the Earth is emanating at this moment.
That reminds me of all the times that Barry would talk about clocks moving at different speeds at different heights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Did
mean,
I
Barry
did I
told that
miss
story
that?
many, many times.
Oh man. Can you
Do you remember
tell?
those, Stacy?
Well, I remember him, he was telling me because he was, and again, I don't always remember the specifics, but we were talking about a sailboat and he was telling me how like 1 degree of how it would turn off. I was trying to get him to answer a question about how many triangles it would take if you started at one pole. Whatever. I was trying to get him to answer some mathematical question. Yes, yes. The answer to your question is Sam. Yes, I do remember him answering those questions about clocks. I just don't remember the details about it because, like I keep trying to say, I remember the overall concepts, but I don't remember the specifics.
Yeah. I mean, granted, the deviations are much, much, much smaller than anything you could detect on an actual real physical clock. But he talks about having a clock, let's say at the bottom of a tower and going all the way up to 100 floors to another tower. And because of differences in gravity and speed, um, that the clocks actually progress at different rates.
Yes.
And so he's talked about that frequently, and he loves bringing that up and talking about you know physics and time and Bell's theorem and Einstein. Those were things that he was quite knowledgeable about, and he wanted people to know.
Yes. And that's the important part, like what the way you just described it. Um, Yesterday I watched two videos of, sessions with me and him. One of them we talked about like near-death experiences and the effects on the brain. And I wanted to cut the video for like the first 20 minutes, but I've already tried that in the past and I lost the whole thing, so I wasn't taking a chance to risk losing that footage. But yeah, it was conversations like that. And another video that I watched, we were playing with ChatGPT when it first came out. And I think we had put through something that Glenn had done. Glenn had sent something, so we were like reading it back and forth. And then I was listening to this in the background, this one, so I didn't catch the whole thing, but we wound up he put through something that I had done, and I kept saying it was really cute because it was really like student and teacher, but sometimes we would switch role. Like it reminded me of the other day when the idea of respect came up. Um, it was what I really liked is that you could see, like I was in the role of student and teacher, but there were other times where if something came up, I would tell him, well, try this or do this. And even though, he was older and obviously had a much higher IQ, as the student, I still felt empowered to be able to say, well, try this. And I loved that. But at the end of this particular video, we're both so happy because the GPT, with our help, came up with something really great. And it was, I don't know, it was just really, really sweet. It was sweet. I bring that up because Sam, we were talking about like creation stories. So the first video was more science related, and it was about the brain. And I was going to send it to Eric and ask him if he could just cut the first 20 minutes off because I think it's an interesting conversation worth sharing, and I don't want to take the chance of losing the rest of it. But the second one, it was like, it was like we had created fairy tales with ChatGPT, but it was about this, it was like creating, uh, a creation story. And I said, so it was the ethical part of it. So I said, all right, now we have to sign this. This was created by, Barry, Stacy, and ChatGPT. And I think we were using 3.5 at the time. I don't remember, but maybe I'll go back and see if I could get the transcript and at least print the story.
There have been a few conversations I've had with Eric. I don't know if you guys know, maybe I just found out way too late, but Eric has worked with some services, some companies that either provide estate planning services or after death kinds of services. And so I thought it was interesting to explore an idea with him at one point where, let's say, I'm not living with my kids right now, right? So I don't get to have conversations with them every day. And certainly I don't get to have conversations with my grandkids because they're not even born yet, or my great grandkids, or all the other progeny behind them, or ahead of them, or ahead of me. So I was saying, what would it be like if I could actually, like answer their questions 40, 50, 100 years from now? And just, be sort of doing kind of a blog, but not for Twitter, not for Facebook, but just
Hmm.
for my family years in the future. Nobody else ever has to see it. But I could talk about, hey, here's how you do your taxes, or here's how you wipe your butt, or be careful when you go into relationships because blah 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 blah, all the sort of things. And nobody else would find it interesting, but hey, if I had those little snippets of my grandfather or my great grandfather, I would watch them. I would listen to them.
Hmm.
And so Eric and I, offline have been exploring kind of a little service like that we could create together. I mean, it's got a bad name right now. It's, for the fromthegrave.com, but I think
Oh,
that's not a good
awful
name.
name.
It's something else we have to rename, but it sort of gets the idea across.
Well, Sam,
Yeah.
do you remember when I introduced you to that man, Patrick? I brought him here for the AI ethics thing.
Was I in that session?
Yeah, we
I'm
had it
getting
here.
old.
Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, One of the things I didn't move forward on, I had this whole whole kind of scheme, and part of it involved exactly what you're talking about as this kind of promotional thing that I wanted to bring to Facebook, which involved sort of what you're talking about, but that would be part of the prize of why people would want to, that would be like what they would win. And it was a whole economic model built around it. But I'm right on that. I think that idea is a very valuable one that people would want. Um, I guess I was looking at the idea a little bit differently. Instead of one that people could buy, one that you would need to be worthy of. And it would sort of be almost like the prize that you'd be given because you so richly deserved it, if that makes sense.
I hadn't mentioned any kind of a pay model for the idea.
Oh no, I'm not again, I'm not judging you at all. I'm just saying yeah, it's the idea is a great idea.
And Patrick was talking about that as well.
No, no, no. When I met Patrick, he was the first person that was happy to like listen to me. He introduced the idea of potato pairing or something like that, and he let me give him all my crazy ideas. And I laid out this whole kind of idea that I had that and then I didn't really go any further other than I did the AI session on ethics, and then I kind of stopped with it and I got busy with something else.
Mhm.
But one of the ideas I had that I thought could work as a bigger, as part of the bigger overall economic plan involved the piece that you just had, but the piece that you just had served as almost a reward for a grander scheme.
Interesting. The notion
I
for
guess I'm mentioning this as an invitation if you guys ever wanted to discuss the grander scheme that I think you may be interested in because it
Mhm.
addresses the not wanting to die. It addresses the having a better world. It addresses a better educational system,
Mhm.
saving the planet, and all those other things, and an actual strategy of how to possibly get there.
Mhm. Yeah, I think a lot of these pieces do fit together. When we were talking about this idea, is more an idea of imagine me trying to, give a gift to my grandkids. It was with that sense that I wanted to set this up because I would have loved for my great grandfather, whom I never met, by the way. I did not meet one of my grandfathers. I've only met one of my grandfathers and none of my great grandfathers. And I would love for, some of that to have been saved so that I could actually either watch them or even interact with them now that there's some AI that could understand and approximate what he might have said. Not as good as the real thing, obviously, but it would be better than zero.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm very different than most people when it comes to death. Yeah, I recognize that. I mean, I have to tell you, I mean, I cried so much that I had the worst migraine yesterday. I can't even tell you that, which is why I slept so late. But that being said, my relationship with death is very different than most people because, I mean, and especially because I have so much video of Barry, he's really like here in a sense.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So, so I guess what I'm trying to say is I appreciate that idea that you're speaking of, and it is really a worthwhile idea to be able to have that. I don't even know what the word is. I don't know if it's the essence of the person. I don't know what the word would be that would describe, I don't know, the
Kids these
fractals.
days might
What?
call it an avatar.
Yeah, I don't like that one either.
Science fiction has called that a simulacrum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Whatever it is, there's definitely, it's just like it's almost like the way that you'd be able to blend who they were when they were here. It's like leaving something behind. It's like, I don't know, it's like they move on, but they leave the artifacts of who they were with you for you
Yep,
to steward.
yep. By the way, which is one of the core ideas for why all these conversations are recorded.
So I've
That's,
always, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kayla.
oh, no, no, go ahead. Go ahead and finish your.
I was just going to say that for me, the importance of why these calls are recorded, which is what I liked about it and what was necessary for me, is that you don't have to count on anyone's opinion of what took place. You can go and look
Exactly,
for yourself.
exactly. Bingo. Case in point, I didn't remember that I had, not done something that you pointed out later on that I said, yeah, I actually did that.
That's interesting that you guys bring up death and, Sam, I remember when you were talking about that and uh, the idea sounds wonderful, and a lot of people would really enjoy that idea. You know, personally, I don't know. I would have to first of all ask my own parents if if my great grandparents were good people, because if they were anything like my grandma or certain members of my family, I wouldn't want to know anything like it just like it's a very personal thing, yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's
definitely.
wonderful. That you want to do that with your with those who are going to precede you, or yeah, right, not precede, succeed you. So,
And right now,
and I'm sorry. Hello.
something random.
Oh, so another thing that I was gonna say, Stacy, when you were talking about death, I do like, I don't know if I see death the same way everybody does, but I definitely grieve death differently. Yes, I get sad. Yes, I cry. Yes, I start missing people. But there is always something that there's a comfort of knowing that they're there,
Yeah.
and that I can not only see a lot of close people in my dreams. I don't know if you guys read what I put on Barry's timeline, but I said I'll see you in my dreams is because um, my mom and I can see people in our dreams, you know, can kind of predict things in our dreams. It's a gift that was passed down to us, and I'm not in tune like a psychic, or I wouldn't ask people to give me money so I could predict anything. It's just something very personal that I've always held. I can tell you all kinds of interesting experiences I've had one day, and they're very entertaining. My son, in particular, likes when I bring up certain things. But anyhow, when it comes to grieving somebody, it's really hard for me to just like, you know, at this moment, grieve them for a long time, only because I know that they're there. And so it may seem to other people like I get over shit really quickly, and it's not the case. It's not that I've gotten over them, they're still there. And so when I perceive somebody who has moved on, as having moved on, it's not like, okay, they moved on next. It's more like, okay, they've just gone to another phase, but they're still here, if that makes sense. And to Sorry, one last thing to that point, I still, in thinking about your idea, Sam, I think that's fantastic. Again, very personal thing, but there's also, when you're talking about moving on, that is another thing that I feel like humans in general struggle with, is moving on. And when I've heard conversations from mediums and psychics. I've actually been listening to this one woman who actually is like a pet medium. And what she often says is like the dogs, the pets, they want you to move on. They want you to move on with their life, or they want the owner to move on with their life because they know that they're always there. So sometimes I feel like if you cling so much to the past, there is this like lack of moving on that humans have a hard time doing. So, anyways, I just wanted to say that. And it's not just with death too. Sorry, go ahead. I think Sam, you wanted to say something,
Or
or
riffing
Stacey.
on what you were saying. This August and September, my parents will both turn 93. And for about 4 or 5 years now, mm, I didn't used to do this before as much. I know other people do it much more regularly than I have. But for about the last 4 or 5 years, I've tried to at least FaceTime them or Zoom them once or twice a week. And what's strange is 80% of the time, no, actually, it's more like 40 or 50% of the time, it's repeating things because, they're both a little bit hard of hearing now, and the connection is not that great from here to Taiwan, and they're not that familiar with technology, but they like getting on at least once a week, and but all the same that in that box. Almost like a solution. All right. Um, I'll be right back.
Kayla, I feel exactly the way you do um, about death.
Hmm. I figured as much.
Although I have to say, the hardest death that I grieved was Marley
Hmm.
because he was with me every second. Um, so the death I grieved before that was my father, and that was maybe 10 years earlier. And that was the most spiritual experience of my life. That was probably the first death that I had grieved after my spiritual awakening. And what I mean by that is after I had a whole different belief system in place. That was the first death I grieved, and it was over a period of 6 weeks, and I had all these different experiences, and my dad had died on the table and had come back for 3 days. And, I'm not going to go into the whole story, but it was really a beautiful experience. And then many things happened after his death. One of them being, I always believed that he sent Marley to me. So it's kind of attached in that way, which I didn't realize till I just said it. But when Marley died, so I'm sitting here downstairs in my living room, and when I look across the room, I have a chair that has a pillow on it, and it's one of these pillows that has a picture, like I had it custom made like a long time ago, and it's my son with Marley. So that pillow's there. But on top of it, I have this little plush toy, and it's this soft toy that I had to go out and buy because when Marley died, I couldn't come back into my place. I just couldn't bring myself to go back into the house. So I had to like shop. I would be like in TJ Maxx, and I had to buy, like those children's blanket, like the little baby blankets, like Binkies or whatever they're called.
Yeah, yeah.
I had I I bought myself one of those because it was like really soft, and it was his color, and I needed to like hold it and just pet it. So I have that sitting on the chair. And then in front of, on my TV, I have a console with some shelves, and I have this little statue of a dog with angel wings. And underneath that, I have Marley's picture, where this particular picture, he's just looking straight at me. And every time I look at that picture, it's like an instant connection because he's literally looking right into my eyes. And then I have his box with his ashes, some of which I've sprinkled, some of which I've kept, and then his paw print. And in the very beginning, so when he died, like I said, in the beginning, I couldn't even come back into the house, and just like picking up his dog dish and all that was very difficult.
Mm.
But at the time, we were working on what was called the Marley Project. So I got really involved in that. And everything I did was with him being a part of it. And what I realized after the first couple of days is that the hard part of grieving was this false belief that I had to leave him behind. And I didn't have to leave him behind. I could still take him with me with everything that I was doing. And once I realized that, and that he'd always be a part of me, it's like something switched. And I started developing this like grief workshop using pictures. And I just got involved in work, in like what I was doing, and it was really transformational. It really was. And so, with the deaths that I've experienced since then, I don't handle them the same way. It's actually, matter of fact, I was thinking about it yesterday, that it seems that not the only, but one of the important rituals that we still have in our society that can be very valuable is our death ritual. People do come together, and it is probably the greatest chance we have for forgiveness is at that particular time.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people will agree that forgiveness is something that we really need at this moment. And so, yeah, so this, and again, I was thinking about, I think you had jumped off the call by this time, but we're going to have Barry's memorial slash celebration of life on August 9th. And
Okay.
I'll send you a document that I sent to Sam. I know he found a piece of video of Barry introducing himself. I picked a song that I want to use that I feel is like special for Barry. If you want to add anything, the document's there. And, we could maybe just discuss, I mean, I assume, people might want to say something about him, but I'll send you that document. And Sam, are you back yet? Okay, guess he's not back yet.
He just, I'm sorry, I heard him mumbling something, and
Hey,
then
Tar.
I was like, what happened?
Um, somebody came to the door. It's my
Oh,
neighbor to the north, and he said, "Hey, a tree fell down." I said, "Really?" So I had to go out and take a look, and yep, sure enough, a tree that's right between our properties. I'm not sure if it's on mine or his. Um, just like fell down directly onto the road, so that the road was blocked.
Oh,
So
wow.
we just pulled it a little bit, so we cleared off one lane, so that cars could at least get by. But now I'm gonna have to call the county, and then at the same time, charge up my electric chainsaw and see if I can go hack at it later on after this meeting and clear off the road. So that's the first time that's happened to me over here at this neighborhood.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a small tree either. I mean, both of us could barely move it.
Yeah, I bet. I assume if it was smaller, you would have cleared up both lanes.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be large to block both lanes.
Sure.
And it directly fell 90 degrees right onto the road. It's not like, sideways. Yeah, odd. But hey, that's the challenge of living so remotely.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam, I just wanted to say something because I realized that it wasn't clear. What I was saying about the whole plan and the idea was that the plan that I had would have gotten funding for you to do what you and Eric are talking about. That was the
Hmm.
idea, was to get the strategy was to be able to get the funding so that you and Eric would be able to do exactly what you said,
Hmm. Cool.
and for many other people in the tech field that we
Yes.
know to do those things.
Yes,
But
I got that.
the main point from my perspective is that our people with our mindset and the would with our ethics, let's say, would have a greater say in how the funds were dispersed, which has always been what's important to me. It's
That's
not
a
that
big
I'm,
topic.
yeah. So it's not that I'm necessarily a controlling person because I want to be a controlling person.
Well, I agree that there's a lot there because right now the way decisions get made, at least in this country, I mean, I've said it before, I'm just going to mention it once, are stupid. And we can certainly do way better than what we're doing right now. If we can, well, I'm not sure we can actually, because we've proven that we're not. But at least there's still some plausible way out of this, as you've been saying, and as other initiatives are trying to explore.
Oh, can I tell you guys about yesterday's town hall meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so it was the California senator from this district as well as the assemblywoman from this district. So this district meaning the district that the ICE raid was happening in Camarillo. So the two women, the supervisor of the county, and then also somebody from MICOP. It's MICOP is an organization that helps protect the indigenous people. There's a lot of indigenous people here in Ventura County that was granted asylum, specifically from Guatemala. We have a lot of people from Guatemala here, which unfortunately I just learned that a daughter and a mom were shipped back to Guatemala, even though they were granted asylum here, which is another story. But another person who showed up was Attorney General Rob Bonta, who is the Attorney General in the state of California. And so they were just talking about, of course, their rights, what happened. So the raid happened at a pot farm over here. And the person who owns a pot farm has been kind of under scrutiny and attack because there was, I believe, a judicial search warrant for ICE to come and raid it. And so for them to come and raid a place, they have to have a signed warrant from a judge. And so this one had a signed warrant from a judge. And so the rumors are that the person who owns the pot farm allowed this to happen, and people are calling him a racist and, MAGA and stuff. But there are two other contracted companies. And so Rob Bonta said, there are two contracted companies that are a part of this actual farm. So he said, let me just put that on the table. So what that signaled to me was, before you make any conclusions about the guy who owns this pot farm, just realize that there are other entities involved that may have, tipped off ICE. So one of the big issues were that there were miners employed, illegal miners employed at this pot farm. And then there's also speculation that some of the miners that they came across were miners that may have gone to the farm with their parents and not necessarily are employed. And so all of this being said, I came across my own conclusion too of like, what does this look like in the eyes of the media? What are we focusing on? And I had a conversation with my friend who was, she actually is very Republican. However, she has changed her mind in the past couple of years, and it's beautiful to see because she asks the right questions. She actually, you can tell that she tries to put her emotions aside. Sometimes her emotions come in. But all in all, we were just talking about strategy. And I'm sorry that that was that conversation with the town hall. It was just a lot of informational stuff, that most of it I knew, but some of it was really interesting. And the tidbits that were interesting is what I brought. And it was just like who tipped ICE off so that they could get a warrant to raid this place. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. So again, it's just people aren't getting their facts straight. I heard it at this town hall meeting, and then I saw it on social media from other people. There was a gentleman that was on the roof that, I don't know, something happened to him, but he is in critical condition. And a lot of people are saying he died. He died because of ICE. I mean, of course, the gentleman probably would not have been on the roof had that raid not taken place. But he is in critical condition. He could quite possibly pass, but he did not pass. He didn't die yet.
I just read he died.
Oh, Well, I don't know if that was this morning. I don't know if it was last night,
No, no,
but
no. You're probably right. No, he probably didn't. He probably didn't, and I
mm,
didn't read it closely. You're probably right. It's probably what you're getting is closer to the ground. I trust more what you're saying than
yeah,
what came across, a Facebook headline that I didn't even look into.
yeah. And so all of this misinformation really is, like, you guys know this, it's dividing the country. And the sad part about it is we really shouldn't be focusing on this. It's terrible for me to say, because it does deserve attention. There are people who are being terrorized. It was awful. This guy is in critical condition. He doesn't have to die to get that notoriety, but still, however, it it was a warranted raid. There were minors employed. It's not a good look if you had wanted to focus on this. The focus really should be on Epstein, that all coming to fruition. It should be on other things that could possibly bring us together, could possibly look unfavorable to, the Republicans. And it's sad at this point to realize that we do have to strategize because there's so much misinformation. And my friend and I were just talking about, like, what should the media focus on that you and I know is that could potentially unite people and say, like, hey, look, okay, we all are human beings that want safety, that want to provide for our families, that want a roof over our head, that don't want to suffer, that don't want to work so hard, that don't believe that all these billionaires and millionaires and trillionaires, should hoard the money. We all, most people, and this is my sole belief, most people are basically good human beings that just want that, right? And so instead of buying into this division, it's like, why don't we focus on things that do bring us together? Like, we don't like, you know, yes, he's a convicted felon and got all this bullshit, going on. But why aren't we focusing on, what's happening with the Epstein files? Why aren't we focusing on other things that could potentially unite us as people? That could potentially bring out, hey, we're good people. We don't want our daughters, to be raped at 13. We don't want this disgusting human being, you know. And anyhow, like, that was what all these things are swimming in my mind. But it's just at this point, like, I feel like people really need to be informed, like, correctly informed. I feel like I didn't get to see who was in this town hall meeting, but I felt like everyone should have been there to hear it from our elected officials. That's what they're there for. And to not buy so much into strategies that could divide us. But anyways, I'm complete. And I have to say, this is why I like to stop and pause and just go, okay, so I'm seeing all this crap on social media, right? I really do like to listen to the person who's kind of quiet in the room, because I feel like the people who are a little bit more quiet, there's just, they're potentially processing their feelings instead of, like, blurting their feelings out. You know what I mean? And they may kind of come from a place of logic as opposed to coming from a place of, like, sheer emotion, if that makes sense. So it was been hard for me to kind of stand behind some of my friends, or not stand behind them, because I always stand behind, the people that I love. But to be asked to choose a side, or to be asked to, like, participate in something that I don't quite have the facts yet, that's kind of where I stand. And it's been interesting, like, to be able to articulate that to them. And then finally coming to the conclusion of this is why I can't kind of be there at the moment. I really need to see the facts for what it is. Rocky.
Just to be clear, where did your friends want you to be standing? What were your, I don't know that I'm clear on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably didn't tell you guys this, but I've been invited to some of the protests, and I've been asked to show support, to share things, and it's been really difficult because I understand that I represent an organization that also serves undocumented individuals. And my executive director has made it very clear that she stands behind that. And all of my friends are saying the same thing. The ones that are in leadership positions, the ones that are in city council, they've been asking me to tag, share, all this crap. It's not crap, but you know what I mean. And come to the protests, or like, if there's an ICE raid, I'll get a text like, "Hey, ICE is going to come to this farm, or they're already here," or something like that. If you guys can come and show support, show support. And my fallback has always been, I really can't, because I've got my child here, and I do not want to be put in a position to like cause harm to myself because my child, it's just me and him. I have to be here for him first as his provider. But I've been feeling very guilty about that because I've always believed in just like showing up and being there. But now I have to be a little bit more smart about it because I've got, little people that I'm taking care of. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
It does. So I'm just trying to so I think what I hear you saying is not so much that you're against one or the other, but that you'd prefer to see more of a focus on needs to be reframed. And I 100% think that we cannot lose track of the Epstein story. I even think we need to be even more clear about the fact that we are allowing God knows how many pedophiles to run free and how many human traffickers to run free because they're being protected. And I don't know why we're allowing Bondi to be a scapegoat. If this were under the Biden administration, we wouldn't all be blaming Merrick Garland. We'd be blaming Biden. Why is Trump getting a pass? But anyway, what you bring up, Kayla, when I asked you before about the scheduling, this fits into exactly the call I'm talking about, which I'm going to send you some stuff. I had sent it to, I had just been exposed to a journalist by the name of George Mondio. And the part of his talk that I was interested in is where he talks about narratives. And there's one piece where he says you can't replace an old story unless you have a new story. And the part that nobody had picked up on the call that I had been in, and this is the piece that I want to pick up on, is that like Trump, I also like the uneducated. And I prefer the uneducated because they do not have a story that needs replacing. They're a blank slate. And if we come in with our story first, it's a lot easier than trying to replace a story. And so I'd like to come up with a story. And I think that it's not that hard to do because there are a million ways to connect dots.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my calls are going to be about.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, please give me
I
the
would love to
schedule.
have you there. Yeah, I would love to have you there. You're like the perfect person because you're right there on the ground and you have a great view of a certain segment. And that's what we need, people with different views of different segments of populations.
Yeah, I want to help. I really do. Right now, I'm kind of holding back because number one, I want my help. I want it to make an impact.
Yeah.
Even if it's just here in Ventura County, even if it just like makes an impact towards like one organization, I want it to make an impact. The sharing of social media, it's taken place already. They've got plenty of people to share it. I don't have a huge, following. I think I have like what, I don't know, 800 people following me on Facebook or 800 friends. Half of them don't even like post anymore. And then I have like 300, 400 people on Instagram. I don't have that much of a following to make an impact. And I really don't care. Social media is social media.
I think that's a good attitude. Not everybody has to do the same thing. And I think that's a better attitude. I think there's too much noise when everybody tries to do everything. I think we should back up a little bit and just do the stuff that's meant for us to do. I think that's such a better way of doing things than the way most people do it. So I
Yeah.
applaud you for that. I also like if somebody says, copy and I don't do it. Doesn't feel right to me. I'm not doing it.
Exactly. I hate those posts. I bet you won't get a like. Girl, bitch, it won't. Not for me. Ugh.
I don't think I've ever done one of those where they tell you, I know only a few of my friends will do. Well, you're right. It's not me.
Mhm. You're right about that. Yeah.
Hey, Sam, I just want to go back. Are we're over. Before we leave, though, can you turn off the recording?
Can I say one thing first in response to what was just being said?
Yes.
Because I do post a lot, and I do, on occasion, do copy and paste. I remember most of the ones that I actually do are the announcements for the phone numbers of suicide prevention hotlines. And that's something that I will support and I have supported. But yeah, I understand, when people say, copy this, don't just forward it, copy this. Yeah, I don't usually do those sort of things either. A lot of those are just clickbait. But there are some that I find are useful to serve. At least I've done that for the suicide prevention hotlines. Just to plead, hey, I'm guilty. I've done it.
Well, no, nothing to feel guilty about. There's a time and a place for that. That's a perfect time and place.
Okay, then let me turn the recording off. Hang on one second. Let me find that.